Good morning. Happy Monday, sweet family and friends. Debbie Pitts Palmer here. Some of you know me as DPP, so good morning. Okay, social butterfly. Anyway, guys, most of you know my baby brother Jeff. I want to tell you a little story about my baby brother Jeff. Jeff was 15 years old when we lost our dad. I was 23 and he was 15 years old. He was in high school. And I don't know exactly when this happened, but it happened right around the time that my father passed away. Jeff was fine up until that time, but something happened when my dad passed away. I received a phone call from one of the teachers telling me to come to the school because they saw something really odd going on with my brother. They didn't know exactly how to explain it, but some things were happening with him that they thought were strange or different. So their recommendation was that I carry him to see a psychologist. So I arranged for him to start seeing a psychologist. And keep in mind, I was just 23, 24 years old myself. I was very young, working, having to take care of my two siblings and my son. My son was only about 6 or 7 years old. So it was a real challenge for me to try to figure things out. So I had to get him back and forth to a therapist and a psychologist for a while. And once he started going, I was able to get him on a bus, and he could take a bus there back and forth. So he went through that for a few years, and finally we thought that it was he was okay to discontinue going. So I can remember we were staying in some apartments after my dad passed. We stayed in some apartments, and I had to carry him to high school in the car and back home, and so that was a bit of a change for him because we had to move from where we lived, where we grew up. That was a change for him. He didn't really understand, and he didn't really, I guess, accept the change. But later on, he adjusted. And then after that change, we moved to our first house. And I think it started to get a little better. He had his own little area, and that he liked hanging out in the basement. He had his own room down there. And he started doing things around the house, like cutting grass and stuff like that. And I can remember Jeff was so big on detail. He just liked things to be a certain way. I mean, when he cut grass, he's gonna make sure that the edges are trimmed. And when he washed my car, you better know every nick and cranny was gonna have to be clean. That's just the kind of person he is. So I can remember one of my neighbors coming to borrow him to cut grass, and he cut her grass and she never paid him. I was so upset because she knew that he was special. She took advantage of him, and you better know I was fired up. I went over there and paid her a visit, and the words were not nice that I exchanged with her because she used my baby brother, but I made sure that she paid him. So I told him from now on, I said, never do anything like that without letting me know. So anyway, that didn't happen again. Then the next thing happened. We ended up moving because we needed more room, so we moved, and we moved to a larger house. And I can remember, good morning, guys, good morning. I can remember my brother Jeff saying, I don't like the new house. I said, Jeff, why you don't like the new house? He said, well, because it's too small. I'm thinking, too small? Now, this house is bigger than the one we moved from. But what it was, he was not ready for change. So if you know anything about people that's got special needs, they don't adjust well to change. So he didn't like that part. He's like, oh God, we gotta go and move, and I don't like this change. So once we got there, and it was still a challenge for him for a long time. He had to really adjust. And so I started doing some things at this new house to make him feel comfortable there, so that he can feel like he was in the other house, by making an area down in the basement where he was accustomed to kind of hanging out. So I'm getting ready to tell you about this other change, guys. When I joined Scentsy back in 2009, I decided to bring Jeff into my Scentsy business. And when I say bring him into the business, I started taking him to my events. So I started taking him to my events, He wasn't comfortable with it at first because that was taking him out of the area that he was most comfortable with. So it took a while. It took a while bringing him out. He didn't start initially. I kind of gradually brought him into it. I started him doing things at home with the products like labeling and helping to put things up. So as we started working in the shows, he started helping me with my samples. What he'd do, I make the samples, and he actually would take the samples and place them inside the bags with my business card. So that was like his job. His job was to receive the products as they arrived. He would label them and help with the samples. That's what he did. So when I started carrying him to the events, it's so funny because he got so comfortable with my customers, and they really played a important role with helping him to feel like he was doing something that was great. So when Jeff go to my shows now, everybody knows Jeff. Everybody loves Jeff. It is so funny because when Jeff is passing samples out, guys, how about people don't tell him no? Nobody tells Jeff no. And Jeff doesn't even explain anything because he really doesn't understand how to explain Scentsy, guys. All he does is hand out the sample, and people will say, well, what is this? He'll say, oh, it's a sample. It's a sample. He doesn't even give details. They just take it. Like, it's a sample because they know it's something about what they sense in Jeff. They sense this genuine person, and they go ahead and take whatever he has, and he's not afraid to share it. He just says, here's a sample. Here's a sample. Is so sweet because he's so innocent, and because he's so innocent, people will take it. He's actually made sales, guys. He makes sales all the time, and when we're at events, people will ask him for his recommendations on fragrances. They'll ask him, what do you like? Can you recommend something? And I call Jeff my bar man because that's his specialty. He loves his bars, and his bars have to be in a certain order. They've got to be in a certain order. If you rearrange them in the order that he's accustomed to, he's gonna go back and change them. That's just the way it is. I don't even question him. I just let him arrange the bars the way he chooses for them to be, because he like order. I mean, and whenever we're working shows, oh my gosh, and I didn't mention this part, when we're setting up at shows, some of my team members may not have a dolly, or sometimes they're parked too far away. Jeff is gonna make sure that he follow them back to their car, help them get their things out of the car, and bring the stuff back to wherever we are. He does this every time. Even when we break down and when the show is over, he's gonna help my team members every time, and he'll stop doing things for me to help them out. Everybody loves Jeff. And I remember working at an event, and something happened at an event. One of the vendors' table collapsed. Something happened to the table, and Jeff was at our booth, and he just stopped what he was doing over there and ran over there to help them with that table. That's my story, guys, about my brother Jeff. He is so awesome. He's a big part. He's like my behind the scenes success with Scentsy, guys. I wanted to tell you this because he helps to take some of the pressure off of me. I mean, that's with the volume that I put out. My volume is pretty strong with Scentsy in terms of what I personally sell. We're talking about my personal sales exceeding $2,000 per month. That's a lot of products to get out there. So that's a lot of work. And he makes it easy for me because of the fact that he does all the things that he does behind the scene. So Scentsy has been a blessing to not only me, but to him, because it makes him feel like he's needed. It makes him feel like he has a purpose. It just, I mean, gives him something to do. He's gonna make sure he wear his Scentsy shirt whenever we work an event. He's gonna have on his uniform. He's gonna have his Scentsy stuff on. His Scentsy gear is intact. He's gonna have on his Scentsy jacket, and when we're really busy, when we're passing samples out, and we have these order forms on clipboards that we hand out to customers. And whenever a customer buys something, and we tear that order form off and give the receipt to the customer, and we keep a copy, he's always replenishing the order forms. He's going to make sure the clipboards are full of order forms each and every time we make a sale. He's like an expediter. I mean, he's constantly keeping the area tidy, because sometimes things get all kind of chaotic in the booth when we're really busy. He's right there to pick up the pieces and clean up behind us. I mean, that's what my baby brother Jeff does, guys. So it's helped him in so many ways feel like he could be somebody. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because if you got somebody in your family that needs an outlet, need to feel like there's somebody, so yes, this is the business to be a part of, because it's that kind of simple. He doesn't know and understand how to really explain the product. You know, I give him a little list to follow to let him know the pricing. If he stumble or something like that, he'll look at me and come get me, or come and get Ricky Christina if she's there. The social butterfly, that's who I'm talking about. He'll make sure he come and get us. He's gonna hand out bags. You know, if we need a bag, he's gonna go grab a bag for the products. He helped bag things up. He doesn't quite understand how to box them, but whatever it is that he can do, he's gonna be right there to do it, guys. So that's my baby brother Jeff, and I love him so much, and he is the very reason why I am able to travel all over the world free with Scentsy. He's a lot of the reason why I get these sales awards and the mentor awards. He is, in fact, a big of the reason why I have been successful with Scentsy, guys. So anyway, I just wanted to share my baby brother Jeff's journey with you, to let you know my behind the scenes success with Scentsy. Take care, guys. Love you. Bye.